Yo, we are back with UFC 328 predictions. Sorry it's been a few days since my last video. I'm trying to still figure out the type of videos that I want to make for this channel besides predictions and matchmaking, whether those be like rankings, tier lists, anything like that. So if you do watch this video and you're enjoying the content that I've made so far, please leave any recommendations for the types of videos you'd like me to make. But we are back with predictions. I'm gonna get more in depth on the main card. I haven't really had a chance this week to um analyze the prelims too heavily. Usually I try to watch some tape on the prelims. I haven't done that this week, and I would just spend today. As I'm recording this is Thursday. I'm probably gonna upload this on Thursday as well. Um, I haven't really watched any tape on the prelims, and I want to get this video out uh today because I am going to visit a family member over the weekend. I think we'll be watching the UFC. He is a UFC fan. Um and I am gonna try and watch every fight of the night. Uh but I'm just saying this because my fight card recap will probably come out on Sunday instead of right after the event on Saturday night. So that's why I'm bringing that up and why my recap for the event is going to be a little bit later than um, it normally would be. But real quick, let me just run through the prelims real quick. I'm just going to give a rapid fire predictions for these, and then I'm going to get in depth for the main card. Um, I am going to go with Jose Ochoa. I'm not even going to give a way they're going to win. I really haven't looked at these prelims too heavily yet. This won't be the norm in the future. I'm going to give as in depth a prediction as I can for every fight of the card. But for this one, I just haven't gotten around to analyzing the prelims too heavily. So I'm going to go with Jose Ochoa for the first fight to beat Clayton Carpenter, Bosnagor Chimaev to beat Jordan Santos. I'm going to go with Pat Sabatini to beat William Gomez. I'm going to go with Roman Kopylov to beat Marco Tulio. Jim Miller to beat Jared Gordon. Grant Dawson to beat Mateusz Rebecki. Joel Alvarez to beat Yaroslav Amosov. And Ateba Gautier to beat Ozzy Diaz. This is definitely going to be a TKO. It's the one method I'm going to give to win. Roman Kopylov, I'll say, is also probably going to be a decision. Pasangor Sarkayev, probably a submission. But other than that, those are my rapid fire prelim predictions. In the future, I promise I will be giving actually in depth analyses of these fights and not just the main card, but that's just how this one is going to go. All right. Main card opener Bobby Queen Green versus Jeremy Stevens. Uh, I'm going to go with uh, King Green. I'm just going to call him Bobby Green. I'm going to go with Bobby Green for this fight. And usually for the rest of these fights, I'll like talk about the strengths and weaknesses of each fighter and then give a prediction. But this is a rare time where I'm certain Bobby Green is gonna beat someone. Uh Jeremy Stevens, like I think Bobby Green's washed up. Jeremy Stevens is mega washed. Uh he's 39 years old, and I'm not saying Bobby Green is young either. He might be the same age actually, but I just don't see a world where Jeremy Stevens can have success in the UFC again. He's already had one fight since he returned, and I believe he lost by TKO in round two, I think, if my memory is serving me well. And That was just over a year ago. Like literally, it was May of 2025, early May. Um, and so took a year off, not getting younger. Um, to come back against Bobby Green, who he's uh not great, but he can still fight, and I think he's gonna decimate Jeremy Stevens. I think it's gonna be a round one TKO out of Bobby Green against Jeremy Stevens. No offense to Jeremy Stevens, but you know, he left the UFC, went to BKFC, found some success there actually in bare knuckle, then lost to Mike Perry, decided it was time to come back to the UFC, got murked, took a year off, and now he's coming back. I just don't see it ending well for Jeremy Stevens against Bobby Green. Next fight, Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. This is a pretty interesting fight because it's going to depend entirely on how Joaquin Buckley has been training for the last 11 months. He fought Kamaru Usman back in June of last year on the Atlanta card main event, and I had Joaquin Buckley winning that fight. I did not expect Marty to um, basically just stop being a washed up unk and just dominate Joaquin Buckley in the grappling like that. Uh, was very impressed by that, and Joaquin Buckley was kind of on a rampage at that point as well. Uh, he the way he knocked out like Wonder Boy and all that, I thought, all right, like Wonder Boy is washed up, but Joaquin Buckley is definitely going to be someone that's going to be like a problem in the top level of welterweight. But Marty put a stop to that, and it I was pretty shocked by it. But now Joaquin Buckley is fighting another really good wrestler in Sean Brady. Uh, and it seems like a grappling is kind of Joaquin Buckley's weakness, and you could point at the Colby Covington fight. Be like, Colby Covington is entirely a wrestler, and Buckley dismantled him. But you got to realize that Colby Covington is ridiculously washed up. I don't even think. I think they finally removed him from the rankings. If I remember correctly, he might be number 15 at this point somehow. But that like it's Colby Covington hasn't won since 2022 when he fought Jorge Masvidal. Um, and that was like an impressive performance, but then just got dismantled by Leon Edwards, who uh turns out wasn't the best champ of all time. Sean Brady actually beat Leon Edwards, so there's that. But Sean Brady, he just is coming off a loss to Michael Morales, but Michael Morales is huge for the division, and that's something that could be going against Sean Brady as well. Joaquin Buckley is a unit, so that could play a role in it. Um, but Michael Morales was also a good grappler along with his stand up, where Joaquin Buckley is basically all stand up. I I think I'm gonna go with Sean Brady by um probably 30-27 decision, maybe a 29-28. I just don't know if in a year Buckley has developed the takedown defense necessary to dismantle a grappler as good as Sean Brady. And I'm not going to count on that. Um, I haven't seen, I don't know if Joaquin Buckley ever posts about his training. Maybe he hasn't. Training takedown defense like crazy, but I don't know. And because I don't know, I'm going to go with Sean Brady. He's just going to smudge Joaquin Buckley, I'd say, because he'll want to stay off the feet as much as possible with Buckley. So he's going to go for takedowns probably immediately. And as long as one lands, he can probably hold Joaquin Buckley down and get the decision win. I don't see him submitting Buckley um, or TKOing him at all. But you never know. There could be a world where Joaquin Buckley actually TKOs Sean Brady before he can get a good takedown. Maybe Joaquin Buckley has elite takedown defense now and is able to keep it on the feet and get rid of Sean Brady early. But again, I just can't count on that. I'm going to go with Sean Brady by 30-27 decision, smudge decision. Next up, our featured bout, Volkov versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. This is going to be a stand-up only fight. Volkov had to deal with Jailton Almeida in his last fight, won by split decision, pretty much solely based off the fact that he was the only one that landed any strikes, and Jailton Almeida refused to advance in the grappling. But he's not really have to worry about that in Waldo Cortez Acosta. Salsa Boy is primarily a stand-up guy, and he has been tearing shit up in heavyweight to get to this point. Like, he's actually an exciting prospect. Um, he's TKO'd Ante Delija round one, TKO'd Shamil Gaziev round one, TKO'd Derek Lewis in round two. The one thing I will say about that fight was Derek Lewis did kind of give up. He just decided he wasn't in it anymore, but still, TKO is a TKO. But Volkov is one of the few heavyweights that I would actually consider an elite fighter. Beat Sergey Pavlovich. He did beat Cyril Gahn, but they gave it to Gahn. It was a pretty clear 29-28 win in my opinion for Volkov in that fight. I believe it was UFC 310. Uh, it was the Pantoja Asakura card, if I remember correctly. Um, but that was a pretty clear win for Volkov, and he got robbed, in my opinion. And then he beat Jailton Almeida barely, but he did. Um, it's tough because Volkov hasn't been knocking guys out, and Waldo has, but Volkov has been fighting the best guys in the division, and Waldo hasn't. So, like, if you look at his last two wins, Shamil Gaziev and Derek Lewis, he brutally TKO'd Shamil, but Shamil's not, he's not Cyril Gahn, he's not Jailton Almeida, he's not Pavlovich. Neither is Derek Lewis anymore. There was a point where he was at the top. Derek Lewis is, I think, the ninth ranked guy at heavyweight now. So it's tough to rate him at the level of Volkov or Pavlovich or Almeida or uh, Cyril Gahn because I just don't think he's at that level. I'm gonna go with Volkov, um, because Waldo, he has that knockout power, but Volkov constantly fights guys with that knockout power. Even Jailton Almeida, to a certain extent, he knocked out Sergey Spivak pretty brutally, if I remember correctly. Um, Cyril Gahn obviously has knockout power, and Sergey Pavlovich obviously has flatline abilities. So Volkov can definitely withstand that. And he's been at the top level for so long where you could argue, even though he's in the top five, Waldo Cortez Acosta isn't even at that top level yet. So I'm going to go with Volkov, and I'm going to go with a unanimous decision win for Volkov. I think he's just going to piece up Waldo Cortez Acosta, not enough to knock him out, but enough to um, keep Waldo from knocking him out. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Volkov by unanimous decision. Our co-main event, Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira. Um, this fight, I feel like a lot of people are writing off. Like, not even I feel like I know a lot of people are writing off Joshua Van as a paper champ already because of how the Pantoja fight turned out. But honestly, I think he's I know he's a lot better than people are giving him credit for. And hold up, these odds were not like this a second ago, right before I filmed this video. Something changed? Hold up. There's got to be some news about that because odds don't change that drastically so quickly. Hold on. I'm checking Instagram real quick to see if there's any news because Joshua Van was an underdog before, like, literally a second ago, right before I filmed this video, right before I started filming. Let me check like a news account real quick. Sorry to interrupt the video like this, but it doesn't make sense how the odds change like that. One second, guys. I'm sorry. I'm looking up why did these odds change? Just now. Let's see if Gemini can clutch. Um, so it's not giving me an answer right now. I swear that hold on. Here it was. Yeah, I had the UFC website up on my phone right before I started filming this video just to take one last look at the card before I turned the not the camera on but started recording. Joshua Van was plus 145 and Tatsuro Taira was um minus 175, and this was I haven't been filming for that long. Not more than 15 minutes, I'd say. I can't really check right now, but that's crazy that these odds have changed like this. Hold on, let me take a screenshot of that, and then I'm going to refresh the page to see what's going on. Yeah, the odds are staying like that when I check the website on my phone. So I don't know what's going on, but I guess I'll find out after this video. But I was gonna go with Joshua Van actually when he was an underdog, just because this is gonna be my only underdog pick of the card. Because I think his takedown defense is better than people give him. I'm gonna ignore these odds for a second and say what I was gonna say before I noticed this. We've been calling Joshua Van a paper champ. Uh And I just don't think that's right. Like Tatsuro Taira has a great submission game, which is something that concerns a lot of people when it comes to picking Joshua Van as a winner. But I Joshua Van's takedown defense is like 80%, something in that range. Uh and like it was a freak accident that caused him to win the belt. but that made people like write him off as if he sucks, which he clearly doesn't. He had an all-time fight with Brandon Royval and was just running through flyweight before that. So I don't think it's fair to write him off after one freak accident that was just not his fault. And people were also shitting on him for celebrating after winning the belt as if no one else would. At least he wasn't putting on an act like Aljo. Um, like it it sucks how that fight turned out, but Joshua Van is the champ right now, and a lot of people picked him to win that fight. It's not like everyone was automatically like, "Oh, Pantoja's guaranteed to win. Don't even pick Joshua Van." That it wasn't like that. People were really considering Joshua Van to win this fight, even though Pantoja was closing in on flyweight goat status. Um, Prior to that fight happening, Tatsuro Taira's a great submission threat, though. This is this is a tough fight to pick. I just don't know what happened with these odds. I was gonna pick Joshua Van when he was an underdog, but now it looks like I'm going for like a favorite sweep, which that wasn't what I was intending. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Joshua Van. I think his takedown defense is going to make a huge difference in this fight. And I have heard that he trains wrestling. He just doesn't like using it as much. I will say that that might be an excuse he uses if he wins. I saw an Instagram comment on this one time where like if he does lose to grappling, he'll be like, I just I don't want to fight by like hold another man down or something like that. Which I doubt that would come from him, but you never know. Uh but yeah, I think Joshua Van's gonna win, and I think he's gonna win by hmm. I think it's gonna be a decision win. Um maybe a TKO. Huh. I am huh. I just don't know. It depends on how good Tatsuro Taira will fare with him on the feet. Fuck, I think I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna say. You know what? I'm gonna go with Joshua Van by split decision. I think this is gonna be an absolute war. Now that I think about it, because Tatsuro Taira, I think will take Joshua Van down, but I think it's going to be a back and forth of like he takes him down, starts advancing, but Joshua Van's able to reverse. They're on the feet for a little bit. Joshua Van's piecing him up, but Tatsuro Taira goes for another takedown, makes it. I think it's going to be a really entertaining back and forth, and I think it's going to uh, be a really good fight that may end in a finish. Um, Yeah, I'm gonna go with TKO. Actually, I'm gonna go with like a round four TKO for Joshua Van. I'm flip flopping a lot on this fight. I think it's gonna be a really good back and forth until Van just catches him at a point and puts Tyra away. I think Joshua Van's gonna win by round four knockout. That's my prediction for that co-main event. Final prediction. I don't know what happened with these odds. Um, I'll have to look into that. But moving on to our main event, the UFC website is having a seizure right now, so this is what the main event screen looks like instead of having regular fights like this. But um, Sean Strickland versus Hamzat Chimaev. This fight's going to be closer than people think. Um, Hamzat has been talking a lot this week about eating that good white meat chicken, which is cool, I guess. But Strickland is a better grappler than Dricus. And even though Dricus um arguably beat Strickland in their first fight. I still think Strickland won that. Coming from someone that likes both, but kind of leans towards Drickus as a fan, coming from me, uh, even though Sean got murked in their second fight, I think Sean's gonna fare a lot better than Drickus did against Hamzat because Drickus wins by almost confusing his opponents because the way he fights isn't how you'd expect a professional fighter to go about it. Um, and he just kind of blitzes forward, doesn't care what the consequences might be, and that's how he was able to tear up middleweight and win the belt. Um, but I feel like uh that style obviously didn't work against Hamzat, who was able to just hold Drickus down because Drickus isn't a great grappler. He was able to submit Izzy, but if you watch that fight back, it's one of the sloppiest takedowns into a RNC. It wasn't actually technically a rear naked choke if you look at the way he was holding it, but like one of the sloppiest takedowns into a rear naked choke you'll ever watch, especially in a championship fight. Um, and that really only worked because, and again, this comes from a Drickus fan, because Izzy sucks at grappling and is washed up. Uh, but Sean, on the other hand, black belt in BJJ, trains wrestling all the time. It seems he's gonna have, and he is one of the best defenders on in stand up in the sport. So I think he's gonna fare a lot better in this fight than Drickus did. And when it comes to stand up, Sean can definitely hold him off. And if Sean's able to keep it on the feet, which I highly doubt he can, he could definitely win by ripping a jab teep. And it seems like he's slowly but surely evolving from the jab teep because he was able to knock out Anthony Hernandez, who everyone thought was going to be the one guy that could beat Hamzat, which we see how that turned out. But yeah, this is a tougher fight to pick than people realize. Uh, all that said, I am gonna pick Hamzat Chimaev to win this fight. Uh, I don't know who can take this guy out of here. Um, I'm yeah, because like when you think about Brendan Allen, I don't see him in any way touching Hamzat. I don't see Imavov beating Hamzat or Kyle Baralho or Joe Pfeiffer. These are all the guys that are kind of in that title contention right now. Um, I I just don't see who can do it, and I think it's just going to be not as dominant of a smudge as what Hamzat did against Drickus, because I think Sean will be able to get up, but I think Hamzat will just be able to keep taking Strickland down, and Sean won't be able to withstand constantly getting taken down. And by the later rounds, championship rounds, he'll just uh he just won't be able to handle it anymore, and Hamzat will just hold him down for another decision. It sucks because middleweight was so entertaining there for a little while Drickus was the champ. While Sean and Drickus were the champs, middleweight was fun to watch. And now you've got this guy, most boring champion right now, easily. One of those boring champions ever. And I feel like I am being a bit harsh because he was entertaining in a lot of his previous fights. But that Drickus fight put such a sour taste in my mouth. And that goes for a lot of other people as well. I just don't see Sean making it out. I don't see Drickus losing this belt. I don't see Hamzat losing this belt. Um, and I don't think he'll be moving up to 205 after this fight either. Uh, yeah, I don't know, man. It sucks. It really does. Um, yeah, Hamzat Chimaev gonna win by decision, and that's about it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Comment what your predictions are for UFC 328. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.